Survival hunters should change to shadow hunters for survival reasons. Larry can help. So the thing there is, I don't think it would make sense to retheme survival hunter. However, I've always thought with like marksmanship, why did you not give that a like Dark Ranger skin in terms of its actual ability kit? We've got Warlock Green Fire, which people love. I have a tiny bit of that as a Disciplined Priest, right? Where, you know, Shadow Covenant, and I get the shadowy version of Penance. Looks really cool. So, class skins. That's really where I would, like, ideally take that sort of question, is, like, to the idea of class skins, because then that starts giving people a lot of optional visuals. It gives Blizzard so many more avenues for class-based stories, because if you look at the Heritage Armor quests these days, it's getting pretty clear that, like, they're not just a thing you do for some gear. The Heritage Armor quest lines, and we will talk about this. Don't know if you saw the thumbnail of this stream, because I even did a double take when I saw the thumbnail of this stream. The Matt put together, I'm like, Sylvanas! So soon! Yeah, I don't know. Right, yes, Heritage Armor quests. They're used to explore the stories of the factions. We're likely going to see that with Night Elves and Forsaken. We certainly saw that with humans and orcs recently. With like, those were terrific. In fact, this very patch, or yeah, no, not this patch, just this week in the game, they added a whole epilogue to the human quest. It's not in the form of a quest, but it's loads of NPC dialogue, stuff you can just dive into stuff with NPCs, and it's really goddamn cool. So, class skins, what do you want? I mean, certainly as an ex-hunter main, I totally want, some hilarious, just give me Windrunner sister stuff. Maybe some dwarf things, like that would all feel really cool. With the Paladin, I'm not as sure. I imagine you could be a little bit more of a hardcore bastard Paladin, you know, up the reds and the crimsonness. Some may even say the scarletness of some of your abilities.
Seal of Blood, like, basically.
Blood Knights.
Yeah, what if everything was Seal of Blood? And then this is where you get into an interesting problem where you go, well, where do you stop is one of the things. And I imagine that's where they...
In returns, Frostfire Bolt, the most confused single spell ever.
Yeah, I think some people have like... Nah, because there's Ginger Nuts, Torn Pally might be cool, more sun, less light. And that's where you're going to run into a bit of an issue when it comes to greenlighting these. And it is, well, which ones we do first? And I assume there's a case where they're maybe like super stuck on that, and maybe why they wouldn't like rush it ahead, because they know they have to architect so they can do a lot. But it is like, that's a negative in some ways, but it's also a positive because they're like, the possibilities are effectively endless.
Yeah, I'd say you either introduce because I don't think it's possible to do everything at once. That's just going to take way too much time. But I think the idea of, you know, having a real good chunk of them happen at the start of an expansion, and then maybe every second patch just drops some in, a little bit like with the Heritage Armor, so the players, because like with Heritage Armor, what we have is a clear vehicle for Blizzard to just keep on doing this really good narrative content. Because say what you want about some of the quality of the A plot thus far, like those Heritage Armor quests have been great. If they could get that on a class basis, that actually could be a way for Blizzard to reintroduce class order halls to the game. And I gotta say, like, I think I'll do this as a stream topic later. I've been going on my new Paladin because I didn't really do the stuff back in Legion. I've been going to get my class mount, right? So going through all the Legion stuff. And it was just immediately this feeling of like, right, Tyrion getting fridged, big sad. Everything else, you're just like, this is cool. It's not deep. It's cool. It's big and cool, right? You know, go fucking pray to Uther. Uther comes down. Let us not think about the expansion that came before. Uther comes down in a way that actually feels like, genuinely special and stuff. And Maxwell's all being like, oh, fucking hell, Uther, I'm going to bow to you. Little do we know he was the blue man jumping about the place. Or, that's probably yellow Uther. So, the various Uthers. Remember Uther Watch? Remember we spent an entire expansion of Uther Watch? Look at all the different Uthers. Bluther, Luther. Whoa. Apparently Luther's pretty good. I should probably watch that. I meant light Uther, the sort of like yellowy good boy Uther, because there's a Bluther and the other. Anyway, enough of the Uthers. It was all really cool. Then I got to the class order hall. And even though, a little bit of it's very, it's like, there's heaps of cheese. But you are looking around the class order hall thinking, I mean, I remember doing Death Knight shit on top of here. I didn't know this was down here. Also, look at it. Like, because the Lights Hope Chapel looks so goddamn cool. And like that very core fantasy level, it's like, I want to be here. This is cool. Look at all the paladins. This is awesome. And if they could use like class skins to bring people back into that, oh man, I really think in the same way that's what our next news topic is going to be, as I look at the big Naxxramas skull that is on our monitor, it gives people that like good feel in the good feel spot. Makes them feel like, oh fuck yeah, I'm vibing with this game world, which is what Legion was able to do because it was just big and cool. Class skins, let's go. True.
Here, I guess is the only reasonable response to that. It's just, yeah, if they can find a way to do that in a way that like works with most things, and they have enough of a, if they have enough of a like one class skin that works, and they can figure out the version, and they can figure out the like turning it off for PvP for, you know, if they do it on a client side basis maybe.
Yeah.
Which would be a bit weird because people wouldn't want to be like, oh, well, people don't get to see my cool Void Paladin attacks. Well, I'm not doing it. But even then, it's like, if it's turned off client side just for PvP, then I think most people would be like, you know what? That's an acceptable thing to.
But you know what? It would be better than taking away people's fucking observers.
Likely, yeah.
Like, I think that for how the game is realistically played, I so completely disagree with what they're doing with the observers. Like, it doesn't matter that much. Come on. It's WoW. If you really cared about silhouettes that much, a lot of different things would have happened.
That's true. Like, that's such a terrible, like, what do you call it?
I want to talk about BG Sonny.
It's a terrible excuse because you think about, I mean, there's ways around it where you could say, well, it's fine if the example I always bring is a priest, like a Lightforged Draenei priest or a human priest wearing either of the heritage sets, and you're like, that's a paladin. And you go, no, it's a priest actually. Like, wait, hang on, what? Why is a priest wearing full plate in appearance? Or any of like a lot of the armor type agnostic Shadowlands sets were all very like, oh, well, that doesn't look like the armor type whatsoever. So they kind of throw that in their own face quite a bit. Especially with all of like the toys and shit you can use to make yourself look different in various situations. So I imagine there was something slightly more to it. I don't know what. I imagine that was an excuse for some tech stuff in the back end, or maybe they want to bring Observer in some other capacity, or maybe they literally had like a load of feedback saying people were literally genuinely confused, and then you go, well, actually that's maybe a different story. And I don't know if they would say that because I would be throwing other players under the bus and saying, actually you're all wrong. Rather they take it on the chin themselves. But it is a little bit like, it's like Aaron said, you look at the color of the nameplate to determine class. So it's like like pets are like the only version of that. Like
add-ons. Everyone's got add-ons. None of it matters. Well, in PvP, they're all using Gladius. Is it called Gladius?
I have no idea.
Like maybe Gladius was the one everyone used in MoP. I'm so out of date in PvP, or sorry, in Arena.
Yeah, I don't feel like well then add-ons probably wouldn't get the pet. In the same way. Maybe it would, like if you want your entire screen to be covered in bloat. But yeah, like generally you wouldn't go for that. So it's weird. But anyway, basically class skins, all of the excuses that I think this is the way to put it, right? All of the excuses that they've kind of ever had for those are like they blow over as soon as you go figure it out.
It's like, hey, what if cons outweighed by pros? Boom.
Yeah, literally. It's just
I don't know
like
why that felt like a mic drop. So obvious.
Full on like just do it forehead in a bunch of ways. You're like, well, I think was it Caligula earlier or was it a carrier? I think it was Caligula said like rule of cool. You're like, rule of cool, the whole thing. Legion was rule of cool for most of it, and that's why it owned, basically. In so many more ways than not. It was like, we're gonna go to Argus and kill Argus, the world soul, the Titan of Death, and it was Sargeras' master plan, and you've beat the Legion. And everyone goes, well, is that really like picture perfect great storytelling? No. Did everyone see that cinematic and go, yo, let's fucking go?
And like, here's the thing. All the Legion people who thought that Final Fantasy XIV was the weeb anime game, little did they know that by playing Legion and liking it, they were enjoying the anime game. Because Legion was just like Like, yeah, it had full on like a good anime energy. I think in quite a lot of it, which works. Ritlock, thank you for your super chat as well. Thanks for the content. Really enjoying your videos. There are more to come.
Really? I thought that was just hanging up the hat. Yeah, just game over like.
That's it. Farewell. No, we got a bunch coming up, including one that maybe will be up on Monday, because as John said, because he hadn't done the content himself in game, he thinks the video's done, but he said it might need a bit more cinnamon. So you guys decode what that means.